When we ask questions that close the aperture and we get a yes or no response, we have just murdered curiosity. Instead, Brandon, it is a beautiful day outside. I don't know about you, but as soon as we're done, I'm going to go take a hike with my younger son. Are you doing anything fun the rest of the day or this weekend? What's on your agenda?
Yeah.
There is no way you can give me a yes or no. You're going to give me a little bit of insight about what's going on. So we want to ask questions that open the aperture, that create a dialogue. So one of the most common things that you and I see in business is when leaders are trying to, get feedback or talk to their teams or talk to their, and do one-on-ones, they often ask these basic questions that get a yes or no. You guys doing okay? Everything all right? How was your quarter? And we get yes, fine. And what we're constantly coaching our clients and our coaching clients and teams to do is start asking questions that will create a dialogue.
Yeah.
Start asking things that will open that aperture.
I love that, Randy. So I'm going to build on it and add a couple of my favorite questions that I like to ask in the professional setting.
Yes.
I ask this with coaching clients. I ask this with new clients that maybe ask us to engage with them on leadership Foundry projects when they're thinking about bringing in cohorts of leaders, and we're kind of helping them design that because we want to make sure we design it just right. We want to design it in a way that's going to meet the needs of the business and meet the needs of those leaders. So 2 questions that I always like to ask in those initial conversations is I bring out my crystal ball and I bring out my magic wand, which makes it a little more fun and inviting. So say if I put my crystal ball in front of you, and other than being invisible, it only shows perfect. And let's say the engagement is done. Okay, we finished the engagement, whatever the engagement might be. And you're looking through the crystal ball and it was exactly what you wanted. What would success look like? What would you want to hear people be saying? What people be feeling, or actions you'd want to see? And that just, first, they always say the same thing. There'll be a couple of people on that call. They always say, "Oh, what a great question," which tells me it's getting them thinking about that. Because after all, you and I want to know what the success is. Mm-hmm. So we know how to hit that bullseye, whether it's a coaching client, a leadership Foundry engagement, or anything else, or you're working with an individual. So we want to ask those questions. And the second one I do is I'll say, all right, now, let's say I had my magic wand and I could wave it right now. I'll hand it to you and you could wave it. What's one thing around here right now you would change or fix? One thing. Mm-hmm. And if it's a coaching client, I might say, is this part of your role you change or fix? Is it someone on your team? Is it your leader? What would you change or fix? Magic wand works with anything. What would you wave it and fix? Which also helps us identify that pain point. But mm-hmm. those are fun, inviting, and everyone's going to have an answer to one of those questions, which helps mm-hmm. us know, okay, here's where we need to take our conversations going forward.
I love it. And you're being consistent with the theme of, I want to ask the question, and I love the fun element because I've seen you do it many times and it works very well. But you're also asking them for, what are the key needs? What's going on? Tell us where we need to spend our time today.
Yeah.
Now that's not what you asked, but that's exactly where you land because you asked it in a really interesting way.
Right. And to that point, this is where, as more people practice curiosity, you start to learn. If I ask the person, what do you need? They're not going to be able to answer that question really well, or they're going to confuse wants with needs. Mm-hmm. So that's a deeper question. But if you make it playful and fun and say, crystal ball, magic wand, you're going to get what you need in order to help them. So it's finding those questions that help get everyone more clarity, which I know is a word you're also very passionate about, on where we need to go.
So, it's interesting, and we didn't use this illustration or this imagery at the beginning, but it's almost like you and I are trying to bake a curiosity cake today. And our cake has lots of ingredients in it. And there are all these different things we're talking about that will make a really cool curiosity cake. Well, going down this path of questions, I'll tell you some of my favorites, because I think these are other questions that can unlock curiosity and help it work. So I think that vulnerability is a really key ingredient to our cake, our curiosity cake.
Yeah.
So when I want to create some vulnerability and build a deeper connection, I always begin conversations with, new friends, existing clients, anybody with, hey, can we just talk a little bit about life outside of work? Tell me about life outside of work. How are you doing in the non-work area of your life right now? And I shut up. They will give me as much or as little as they're comfortable giving me. But I always get some little nugget. something's going on. Well, we just had a great vacation. Life hasn't been that great lately. My daughter's got COVID. Or, oh my gosh, what a crazy weekend. I had 3 soccer games with my son and a baseball game with my youngest daughter, whatever. So as you ask that question, how's life outside of work, you'll get this really interesting insight into the non-work person. Then you can connect to that. Oh, you know what? My kids play sports, or our weekend was also busy. We went to the same Mexican restaurant you went to. Whatever it is, we can find a way to connect. So asking that question creates a little bit of vulnerability. It's like the wall comes down a little bit. You can also say something like, hey, listen, you guys do anything fun this weekend? Anything interesting? Instead of, any plans this weekend? Yes, no. Anything fun or interesting? What are you going to do with your family this weekend? Whatever you can do to get them to open up, and then you can respond, that allows you to build a connection. Another element, though, if you're not sure of your audience or if they have a history of not sharing much, you can begin with transparency. Brandon, what are you doing this weekend? I don't know about you, but I have so many yard projects I've got to get done. And then I've got to take my older son hiking and my younger son to baseball practice. It's crazy busy in my house. What are you doing? By being transparent first, I've now given you permission to be transparent and open with me. So I think that using curiosity to really get some vulnerability, because then you're going to have a richer, more honest and authentic conversation. So again, as I think about our curiosity cake, I think vulnerability and these kinds of questions are just other ingredients in that cake.